In a world where production numbers reign supreme, one man on a mission. Verbal garbage.
What's up, everybody? Another episode of Verbal Garbage coming at you hot and live. Today we got my boy Greg on. Greg, just for the people out there, give them a little bit of information, where you're from, where you're living at now, and what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Greg Sheldon, and I live in Ontario, Canada.
Oh,
And
second Canadian guest, baby.
yeah. And but let me tell you, I have a lot of respect and admiration for the United States of America. And there's some business stuff that I got on the side that I'm really trying to get down there
Nice.
and live there. But yeah, I've lived all over Canada. I've lived in Alberta, Calgary, Alberta. I lived in quite a few towns in Ontario, like university towns mainly.
Okay, cool.
Well,
Now,
where all the girls are,
when when you're staying in these towns all over the place. Now I'm ignorantly and unabashedly American, so I've never left the country. I know the American way of living, and I'm very ignorant about other cultures. So
Sure.
we have like the Airbnbs here. Is that like when you go around, you staying in hotels, condos, Airbnbs, you buying a house? What's this living?
Well, I mean, okay, so I mean, right now I'm living in a trailer.
Heyo.
Never done that before. And actually, what started it was my wife and I, we sold our, well, we're still in the middle of selling our house. That's a whole other story. But
Congratulations.
yeah,
Well,
thank you.
maybe.
But we,
Maybe.
maybe not. The thing is, the closing keeps getting pushed off. It's ridiculous. But so we bought a trailer, and we're building our home.
Now, trailer, Greg, I don't mean to cut you off, but is this like the RV, or is, because I know there's a lot of different terminologies and a lot of different styles and everything.
Well, I'm all new to it too. So, I mean, I don't know. I would consider it a recreational vehicle slash trailer, I
RV.
suppose. RV. And I'm having a lot of fun on it. But what happened is my wife and I were having some things going on, and so we bought a second trailer. So this is the second trailer.
Damn.
And I'm trying to do that, like, well, maybe I'm not copying Steve-O, but I kind of got the inspiration from him to do this sort of thing out of a trailer. So
Are we gonna see you duct taping yourself to a billboard anytime soon in a
No.
protester?
No. But I will say I was really touched by the last one with him and Bam Margera. It was really quite interesting.
I saw that. I didn't get to listen to it yet though, but I did see it. I want to check it out.
Yeah, it's good. So so Canadian life, I would say we're a weak facsimile of the United States. We do have the same values, we have the same culture, more or less. It's just
for sure.
we're not as proud, for whatever reason that is. And we've got an interesting prime minister that's doing some crazy stuff. And I don't know if you know about up here.
Oh man, I was gonna kind of ask you about that because like I said, I don't really like to get. But this is a podcast where we just talk about anything. And when you talk about Canada, it's hard not to bring up Trudeau. And I've had a friend that was just recently in Canada, and I have to ask, like, can any American come over right now, or do you have to be an American that's been vaccinated and boosted 100 times, or what's the status of traveling as an American and then traveling as a Canadian, if you don't mind speaking on that?
Okay, so I just went down to Pennsylvania.
Who? I'm South Jersey boy. I'm right around from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So it was super easy.
Oh.
The guards were like, okay, what are you going to do? And we just told them the truth, and they're like, okay, awesome, see you later. But Canadians, even though I'm Canadian, I had to get this like app that I had to tell them in advance that I'm coming back.
What?
And I haven't been exposed to all this bullshit. And look I'm reluctant to do any of that stuff, but at the same time, I didn't want to be held up at the border for hours and hours.
I was going to say, what's the alternative really there? They kind of force your hand with that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, is that there's all kinds of that going on, is they're forcing your hand to do things that we don't like. And it's just, the spending's been crazy. Like our inflation rate's up just like yours. But
dude, what are you roughly paying for a gallon of gas right now?
Well, gallons, we go liters. So
oh my God, we got to end the podcast.
Brain melts. We figured it out because I was down there, and we're about 25% more than you are a gallon.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you want to hear like the most American thought process ever is I'm trying to figure out how liters are. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking about a 2-liter bottle of soda. I'm converting that to gas. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Sad state of affairs.
Yeah, it is. Well,
now,
that's
do you have to drive a lot for a commute or a work or anything like that, or is that not too bad? Or
not at this time. I've got, like I say, I got a few irons in the fire. My daily employment slowed down, so I've been kind of laid. Well, not kind of. I've been laid off, so which is good. I'm taking it as a positive.
You're gonna say it all how you spin it, right?
Yeah, man. And so I'm taking some time to do some things that I've wanted to do for a long time, like a podcast and,
Hell yeah, man.
taking some time
Real
for
quick,
me.
Greg, tell the people, you just started a podcast before we were on air. You're saying you just started. Where can they find it? What's it called?
Yeah, it's called the Fresh Cookies Podcast.
Oh, I like the name.
And the idea around that is that everybody's a cookie, everybody's a unique person in some sort of way, and everybody has something unique to offer because we all have an experience. We all have a perspective and a lens that we look through, right? And so the idea of the podcast is to, have a deep conversation about, what is it that you offer the world that other people can learn from. So yeah, it's pretty deep, man. But
hey, I gotta admit, I saw that on Reddit, and you're like looking to have deep conversation. I was like, abort. But no, I honestly sometimes like I had a grief counselor who reached out to me, and he wanted to come on here. And at first, I was like a little timid about it because I'm a very sensitive person, and the last thing I want to be doing is crying on my own podcast. But the things that you fear and the things you want to put off are sometimes the things that are really worth facing. So
yeah, man.
God willing, if you'd ever have me on and we could get deep into something, I would love to do that, or maybe give the listeners a day and go into something deep. Who knows? But
hey, man, you never know, and that's the thing, right? And that's what the journey I'm looking to have is, just to get to know people like you, right?
Absolutely, brother.
Really cool, man. And I've been through quite a journey, and so has everybody else. So I figure we can all learn something from each other, man.
Man. Like me myself, I'm 30 years old right now, and I'm just kind of settling into a job that I'm really enjoying. But as I say that, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I fucking walked up to my boss. I tried to quit. I had a really bad couple weeks and stuff, and we just kind of talked it out. And
yeah, what was the job, man?
I'm still working for it. It's Snap-on Tools. So I'm going around. If you're familiar with us, go around driving a big truck. Me myself, like I don't know anything about tools or cars, and I never drove a big truck, so it's all brand new to me. But about 10 months in now, and I'm really starting to catch my stride, really getting a good rapport with the guys, selling a lot, collecting a lot. So, but like you were saying, we all have journeys, and each week sometimes like, do I like this? Do I not like it? What am I going to do with my life? And there's just so many questions that you have. For me personally, I wasn't one of those guys that just followed a beaten narrow path and went to school and had a degree and did this job for 30, 40 years. So I'm kind of curious, like you're saying you've been through a lot. What's kind of,
so since we're on the topic of jobs, I mean, I was like cookie cutter, like everybody, right? We're all pumped out of a school factory to, go get a job and do
university,
Well, no, actually, for me, it was everybody else was doing that, but I said, nah, screw that. I'm not doing that. I found a passion in the trades, actually.
I was literally going to say trade school, right?
Trade school, and
handyman.
I was really good at it. The welding and fabrication.
Let's go, man. Greg.
Yeah,
you got a real man on the podcast.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm softening up, man. I'm 38 this year, and
let's go.
If you talked to me 10 years ago, it'd be like, macho tough guy.
Yeah.
But I had kids.
That'll do it.
They soften you up, right? So
yeah, man.
And so I'm kind of on a journey right now to learn about, what is it that Greg really wants to do, and so I mean, some other stuff that's going on was, like I've always had, not always, but I've, struggled with alcohol addiction. And other things like that.
Thank you for being open about that, man. That's
and that's part of the journey at this point, is just being open and transparent about things.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just staying sober, finding things that really resonate with me.
Absolutely.
And getting over those fears, like you mentioned earlier. Like the fear I always had that alcohol did for me was, going to a party. And that was what it did. I was the guy that drank, right? And I was the guy that, did all the crazy stuff. So that made me comfortable. But so right now I'm sober, and I want to get comfortable with talking to anybody, you know what I mean? And just
amazing, dude.
Feeling it out, and just like you said at the beginning, I love that was, just who cares?
Well, were you anything like me, Greg, where like I've been listening to podcasts for probably about 10 years, and I was the guy like, before the wireless headphones came out, I'd be in the morning, like brushing my teeth, holding my phone up to my ear. I'm always wanting to listen to something. And my friends would make fun of, you're just listening to people talk. You're listening to this, you're listening to that. And for probably about 3 or 4 years now, I've had it in my head. Hey, I want to do my own. Were you like me? Were you wanted to do it, but you were so worried about what other people would think? What are you going to talk? All that bullshit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
See? And then like today, I texted you this morning. Hey, you free today? You sure? I don't know anything about you. You don't know anything about me. We just come on here and it's fun, man. You know, all that time we were living in fear and putting it off. And who's to say you or I can't be the next great podcaster? And
exactly, dude. No,
maybe we got started 3 years too late, you know?
Well, but there's never too late, man. There's only from today forward, right? And there's no sense in living in the past. I was listener of Joe Rogan since 2012. That's where it started for me. And then a lot of spin-offs from him,
like all the comedian friends that he introduces.
Well, but even more than that, like Lex Fridman,
man,
that guy has so many good guests on. Like I've learned so much from him. And people, same thing, like people in the trades be like, what are you listening to? I'm like, well, I'm listening to this really cool guy. And they're like, what the hell are you listening to that for? I'm like, I don't know, I just enjoy it,
like what are you listening to the birds chirping for? You know what I mean? Like people get so like, I'm listening to people have a conversation, but people don't understand about me, or maybe like you, is I don't retain information so well, but I have this thing about constantly taking in, whether it's jiu-jitsu, a new job, a podcast, a book, an audiobook. I just constantly want to be taking in new things. And even if I'm not retaining it, you're getting new things. And do you feel similar about that?
Well, I do, man. It's thing making some noise. I find that it's not that I exactly retain every paragraph or every sentence or whatever, right?
Not even close.
But I find that there's times when you're in the situation and it just like it comes out of you. It's like I pulled that from whatever it was, and it was like, wow, that didn't just come from me, that came from something that I absorbed over a period, whatever it was.
Yep. And you just do it so like much, it's almost second nature, where you hear and you can connect, and
like your subconscious like absorbs it, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man,
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I'm just so curious about talking to people that are like the Reddit podcast guest exchange has been so cool. They're just people that have similar interests, and we're all kind of behind the same barrier where, well, this guy's made money and he's famous, he made money. How can I now? You and I may not ever make a penny off this, but why the hell not trying? To me, I get off here every day, and like I'm a big pothead. The high I get off of just like doing a podcast, like it's better than getting high on literally. Like I get this crazy euphoric feeling after I talk to someone on their show or they come on mine, and just knowing like, I have another question. Were you like, before I started doing this, I was terrified to go on Zoom with like, even if it was my family members or something, I was just so uncomfortable talking on a camera. Now I'm like, now I can go on with a random dude from Ontario and just talk shit for 40 minutes and not even think about it.
Yeah, man. No, it's growth. And it's almost like, for the longest time, I wasn't sure like of a higher power or God or universe or whatever it is, right? Didn't know, I mean, and I don't even still know because there's no proof otherwise, right? But I do believe things happen for a reason, and this period of time that I'm going through is happening to help me grow, right? And it's getting past that fear, and on the other side of that is growth and freedom, right? So yeah, man, no, you're right. Like it's just, we always get so caught up in what other people think when they don't care.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Comparing yourselves to other people, that's something I get trapped into a lot, is where I'm at in my life compared to friends and family members. It's like, you're your own person. It's your own life. Just enjoy it every day and have fun. And I don't know, it seems like the thing I'm getting from you, Greg, is, someone could get laid off from the job and make it a whole woe is me and blah, blah, blah. And you're turning the complete opposite cheek, and you're looking at it very forward and very positively. And I'm just very appreciative of that outlook you have, and I'm sure you've went through a lot of experience to gain that, but I just think that's awesome, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, let me tell you, I'll be totally frank. I mean, the first day or two I was like, this sucks, man, like what am I gonna do? But it sounds cliche, but it really is true that a man is judged by how he picks himself up right after something, right?
For sure.
And, not to get too deep, but
no, man.
That is,
hey, we can switch it up sometimes. Sometimes people are hearing about tired of me wiping my ass with a bidet and shit. So it's it's nice to sprinkle in a little bit of
well, I do want to ask about your jujitsu, but just to that point, I find that it just all that stuff that David Goggins talks about is just true. I listen to him on Inspiration
He
every
makes you
morning.
feel like a real piece of shit, though,
He
doesn't he?
does, he does, but he motivates. I find like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you feel like, oh man, this guy's like running through airports and shit.
Like,
I'm
chill
like,
out, bro.
I
Yeah.
know, I know. But I go on a bike ride every morning as my routine,
Fuck
right?
yeah.
And I push. Okay, so I got to my destination this morning, and
You
I was
probably got some
like,
hills and stuff too, right there.
hills, lots of
Oh
hills,
man.
nothing like Pennsylvania, but hills. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm gonna go further, just like the guy
Ah,
that's been screaming in my ear says. So I went further, and you know what, man? I felt a lot better after it.
fuck yeah.
I got back. I'm like, man, I doubled my accomplishment, which was,
Amazing.
still
Something you
not
never
anywhere
thought you were gonna
close to
do when you
that
woke
guy.
up.
What's
I
that?
said it's probably something you never even envisioned waking up, and then here you are,
Yeah,
doing it, killing it.
yeah. Well, I'm not killing it yet, man. I'm
Hey man, that
just getting
first day though,
started.
jumping over that barrier, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, likewise, man.
So yeah, the bike
So
riding, is that
jujitsu.
something you started
Tell me about
doing?
tell me
Sorry, go
about
ahead.
tell me about jujitsu. So what got you? Are you doing that?
Yeah, man, I've been doing. I'm actually this is my shout out to my gym right here. This is my gym, City of Palms, BJJ in Southwest Florida.
Nice.
Incredible, man. So I've always been a huge mixed martial arts fan. If you're from Canada, you're probably familiar. It's very popular there.
Yeah.
And I was just watching the sport each week and just started getting to the point where I didn't really understand what was going on when the fight would transition to the ground. And if you don't mind me taking up a minute here, I'll just have kind of a funny introduction of my intro
Man.
to jiu-jitsu. So when I was living in New Jersey, I went to a gym there. Me and my brother-in-law went in. We tried jiu-jitsu for 2 classes. I really didn't like it. The instructors weren't very new guy friendly, if you will. So I just transitioned into a Muay Thai class, which is, just the Western Thai boxing where you're using the elbows, the knees, the kicks, the punching, as opposed to just Western boxing, which is punches.
Sure.
So after doing that, I liked it. 2 years later, I moved down to Florida. Me and my brother are talking about getting into together. And we meet a chick who comes into our gym or our bar, and she ends up being kind of affiliated with the gym and pretty much went of like a pretty interesting route of getting us into jiu-jitsu. Pretty much like, you fucking pussies don't train, but you watch this shit. So that got us into it, man. And I've been training for, it's as weird as that sounds, like that made me and my brother go in, try it out. 3 years later, I just got my blue belt recently. I can't say enough good things about it. There's guys that are older than you in way worse physical shape that I see that come in and start new every day. Pretty much everybody on my podcast, I try to talk them into going at least trying one class because what it can do for you mentally and physically, the confidence it helped me develop. Like, I'm pretty sure if I didn't do jiu-jitsu, I would have never started doing this podcast. I can almost say that with certainty.
And why is that?
Never went back. It just gives you this, like, I don't go around acting like I'm going to beat anybody up. Like, I'm the least confrontational person. But just when you go into that gym, right, or whatever gym it is, and you're watching these guys put these amazing moves together where they're getting out of a submission, they're going into a position, they're getting you into a submission. Like, you work through all these little defeats each day, and it just shows you, like, man, like, this is what I'm going through each day. It makes the challenges in life seem not so hard because you're literally getting someone physically putting their will onto you and trying to get out of that. So just seeing the progress I've made in a short 3-year span, I mean, like, it got me back into school to finish my associate's degree. It just helped me do, like, I went into the restaurant business. All the positive things that have kind of happened in my life are post jiu-jitsu. So I didn't mean to make that all about me there, man, but it's
no. It's all it's not about anybody
can't
here.
Say like enough positive things about it. And
would you say?
Sorry, go ahead.
Would you say it built your confidence up? Is that?
Oh, dude,
that was
like
it?
I'm 100% a different person than I was 3 years ago. Just as far as going out and, like, I bartended, I served tables when I never tried that before. I went out and sold shrimp door to door. I'm fucking selling tools now. Not like, these are things that before jiu-jitsu I would have stayed in my comfort zone. You know what I mean? And now you go out and you try new things. So I don't know if you got one close to you that you can go in and check out, man. But maybe when you get back on your feet a little bit, check it out. And,
Well, I will. I mean, I'm kind of in the fucking middle of nowhere at this point, but no, I've been meaning to do that. I tried boxing. I tried boxing one day, like 4 or 5 years ago. I was ready for it personally, but also at the same time, they saw this new guy come in, and they fucking did this workout, man, and it just about killed me. And
were they shaming you if you couldn't keep up? Or because that's my thing. new guys are going to come in all the time and they're going to struggle with stuff. It's on the gym and the members and the culture. Like that's the one thing I can say about my gym, City of Palms. They are the most welcoming gym you could ever imagine. I mean, jiu-jitsu is a very male-dominated sport, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
There's a very good population of females that are trickling into the gym now. And, you get 6 or 8 girls working together. New girl comes in and she sees that and she's comfortable. Yeah, so that gym has done an amazing job of cultivating a culture where people feel welcomed. And I really hope you can find something like that, man, because it just makes exercising way more fun,
Yeah, because at the beginning, you don't have that confidence, right? You're just you're like, I'm just like a piece of dough here.
You want to hear something to make you feel better? My first day ever of jiu-jitsu in New Jersey, the 2 classes I went to there that I didn't like. Yeah. I was kind of underestimating jiu-jitsu. I was like, it'll be fine. I'll be okay. I just want to eat. So I got home from work about an hour and a half before. I ate a fucking personal pizza. Bro, this is 100% a true story. I was literally in the middle of jiu-jitsu warm-ups and I was throwing up on and off the mat, throwing up into my clothes. Like,
oh man,
name a worse fucking introduction to jiu-jitsu. I beg you. So like I tell anyone, you can go in and you can struggle with the warm-up or you can do this and do that. You ain't gonna be throwing up pizza on their fucking mats. So try it out. Like,
yeah, okay, fair enough, man. That's pretty bad.
Really bad. But that, like I said, it wasn't the most welcoming environment. They helped me out there, but just it led to me kind of wanting to go leave the gym. And then down here in Florida, I found 2 awesome spots. So
yeah, but you pushed through it, and
yeah, dude,
still doing it.
It's now the battle I'm having every night is like I get done work and I'm like, okay, so tonight I have Greg lined up, so I'm not going to go to jiu-jitsu. Now I'm trying to get 2 or 3 other people to really rationalize skipping jiu-jitsu because that's what it's come down to is now podcast or jiu-jitsu. So I'm always fighting these demons of what do I want to do?
Fair enough. Well, hey, man, that's a good problem to have. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it. So what about you, brother? If you don't mind me asking, the sobriety thing, is that something recent or have you been pretty sober for a little bit now or?
Well.
And if you don't want to talk, just.
So it's all good, man. I'm just thinking it through here. So I've been 9 days sober.
All right. Awesome.
And I did a 4-day stint before that of drinking real heavy.
Yeah.
And then I did.
What was the poison of choice, if you don't mind me asking?
Vodka and White Claws.
It's a dangerous combination.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I did this thing, and I went. Not that I'm bragging about it, but me and my counselor said it was almost like you did the 30 days in the desert kind of thing. You went. So I did. I went to because I got sober for like 8 days, right?
Okay.
And then the way she explains it is that you need to go through this, this good phase, which was the 8 days, which doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot.
Now, isn't that probably real quick? I don't mean to cut you off. Aren't those first couple days? They're probably the most challenging, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Continue.
No, that's okay. So then my intentions were good. Like I was going to go for a big hike, right? I'm going on this hike across, from here to another town. It was probably going to be a day hike.
Wow.
Day, like each direction, right? And anyway, I stopped in this town that I knew from childhood, and they happened to have one of these. This is uncommon or common for you guys, where they have like a store and
hot dogs,
alcohol in it. No, not hot dogs, alcohol in it. But here it's not so common, right? You just have convenience stores, and then you have liquor stores.
Dude, in Florida they got fucking liquor and gas stations, like beers and gas stations.
I know, it's
crazy.
Yeah. So it's different. Anyway, this one had liquor in it, so I made it past it. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just see what happens.
No,
I know. So that turned into 4 days of me exploring the fact that, like I said, the counselor and I decided that it was kind of like you needed to face that 4 days of feeling really, really shitty because you're past that now and you don't want to be there anymore. So you need to really see
all that.
It was like it had been bad before, but this was like really, really down in the dumps, rock bottom bad. And so I came out of that, and that's, I learned a lot from that. It was, like going to the desert for 30 days, but I did it in 4.
So real quick, I don't mean to interrupt. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but you were kind of frolicking along. You got past the store where you could buy the liquor. You went back to the store, and I'm guessing you bought said liquor.
Yes.
Now, did you go into like the woods and just fucking?
Okay, so there's
some
like
alone shit, naked and afraid and alone.
I did do some naked sunbathing.
Skinny dip, little skinny dip.
Yeah, skinny dipping. And I think some people saw me because I went into the convenience store to buy some
Oh, your
booze.
fucking podcast is getting canceled before it begins, motherfucker.
And people were looking at me funny, like, and it's 9 a.m. They're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" I'm pretty sure they saw me fucking sunbathing naked. Anyway,
Hopefully, it was a good sight.
so anyway, man, but before that, like, it was like on and off. Like for years, like I went to University Town when I was 22.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just got caught up in the wrong crowd. Ended up doing drugs. Not just marijuana, but other things, right? And
Like,
it was
mething?
no.
Okay.
No,
I'm always curious when people say
luckily-
drugs. I'm like, what are we talking here? Because I've only ever really done psychedelics and weed. So I'm always curious, like Coke, or if you don't want to talk about it, no problem. But I'm just curious.
No worries, man. No, mainly Coke. At that time, there was an abundance of it. And
now, is that sniffing? We smoking? What's our
sniffing?
Hell yeah. Your nose still looks pretty good, bro. Some people get really jacked up nostrils.
Luckily, I don't know if you're familiar, but we say DOC. Us addicts, we see DOC, which is drug of choice.
Oh, I was thinking Department of Corrections. Nope.
No. My DOC has always been alcohol. I didn't know it. And when I was doing Coke, I thought, okay, well, this shit's awesome. But then it got not awesome. But I kicked it pretty easily. Like,
were you drinking one night and someone showed you Coke at a party? Like, I hate to be the cliche, like,
yeah.
Hey, do you want to take a bump?
Let's do this. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So, and let me tell you, man.
Let me see your pinky nail.
Man, I only knew one guy that had one of them, and he owned a towing truck company. I don't know what the hell
that's a red flag right away. Yeah.
So anyway, no, I dabbled in that quite heavy, and then I just kicked it. But booze has always been there, and it's been a struggle, man. But you know what? It's made me who I am today. I built a lot of character because of it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I met a lot of cool people because of it. And I'm here right now because
I can just tell, man, like, you're not the type that's deflecting it on other people or trying to point fingers and blame other people. You're taking full ownership about it. You're being super open about it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. My listeners are going to appreciate that. It's just a nice conversation to have. And I don't mean to get too personal with you, but I just feel like that's a great story for you because you're overcoming it and you're here talking about it to people that have no idea who you are. And that's a huge thing, man. I don't know you, and I feel weird saying I'm proud of you, but seriously, if I went through a struggle that you went through, I would definitely be a little scared to share it,
Yeah, well, there's stuff I'm not sharing.
Of course. Tell me everything. No, I'm just kidding. Where is the map? Where are the bodies?
There's some things.
No, man, no, it's cool.
But it's, you know what I mean? I hope that somebody can learn from me, you know what I mean? And if there's something and I'm still learning, that doesn't mean that I know nothing.
None of us are a finished product. We're all working,
And that was kind of one of my things about my podcast was like, that's a paradox of life, is like, the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know, and it's
crazy.
It's just life, right? And
everybody you talk to, man, you can pick up stuff from, and no matter how smart you think you are, how many books, I always consider myself pretty well read, but I can talk to anybody and they can shit on me and so many different you know what I mean? Because there's just so much out there to learn.
What's your favorite book?
Probably Murder Machine. I'm a big mafia, like a fan of and this was a pretty much, you've heard of like the famous characters, the John Gottis, all those guys. This was a book all about this gentleman named Roy DeMeo in Hell's Kitchen, Western New York. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't Italian born, so he could never be made. But he was a guy that was pretty much collecting more bodies than anybody in the history of the mafia. And it's a whole crazy story telling all the ins and outs. But I love like true crime books, like Under and Alone, Dr. Dealer. Like, that's all my kind of stuff. What about you? What's your realm with the books?
Well, I mean, I love business stuff.
Okay.
I love like mindset stuff. Like, I'm going through a book right now called something from Joe Dispenza. It's like it's a head trip, man. It's like,
I can't imagine
dealing with like, your thoughts, create who you are and they change your future. So I don't know. Neuroscience, science, history is kind of a new thing for me, man. But like, I downloaded some books about, World War II, and I'm still learning about that. But like, what a crazy time,
dude,
in history,
Insane. I'm still reading The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. I started that.
That's the one.
Yeah, dude. I started that like 2 years ago, and I'm like 950 pages through it, but like
it's like 2 years long.
Dude, it's insane. And like, real quick question to you. Are you a big fan of, the physical old style books where you lick your finger and turn the page? You like the Kindles, you do the audiobooks? Like, what's your preferred method of ingesting, if you will?
Sure. Good word. I would say I did start with books, like, hands-on. Okay.
And getting the bookshelf, dude, like that's always something I've dreamed of. So I'm like, let me get all these physical books. But once, like, I got a Kindle, dude. Once you get that, you fucking go on Amazon and like, I don't know if you watch a lot of TV.
Yes and no.
There's a show on HBO that just came out, and it's based all on a true story about the Baltimore Gun Trace Task Force. And it's fucking.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
So that book just went on sale yesterday. We own the city. Yeah. So the book went on sale the other day for $1.99, and it's been in my cart for 3 weeks for $22. That was on my Kindle, so now I got the $20 book. And you don't get to lick the fingers and turn the page and have the physical book, but bro. So I'm just saying the Kindle can be. You can find some real good treasures on there for very cheap.
Kindle was good. I don't know, man. I'm big on audiobooks. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, me too. I like all three, but I'm just curious, like, where you started and what you're kind of leaning. Because I'll never do a Kindle. I'll never listen to an audiobook. And as you start getting exposed, I'm like, God damn.
I know. And listening is a totally different experience. I find I retain a lot more
when you listen.
Yeah, when I listen.
Yeah, like I feel like
I get distracted so easily with a book. And
my mind the littlest like bird noise or anything in the back. If I'm reading outside, if a bird's chirping, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm not kidding. Like I
know.
My mom, like, she can sit outside with a party full of people talking, and she'll just be reading. I'm like, how the fuck can you do that?
My mom's the same way. She'll sit and read a book outside.
Are we brothers?
Maybe.
No, it's just it's crazy because like especially when you get the books like recently I've been reading the listen to the book about Tim Kennedy, his life. He's narrating the book himself. So when you get someone narrating it themselves, I feel like it's so much easier to listen and retain.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah.
Earlier, dude, I can't help but I keep thinking about it. I'm gonna kick myself if I don't bring it up. Earlier, I heard you talk about Steve-O and Bam. Were you a big Jackass guy? You still big?
Well, I mean, not so much anymore because I've grown up.
Of course.
So but I mean, back then.
But like Viva La Bam.
I was that was when I was at that age. Like I'm basically the same age as them. They're like 6 years older than me or something like that.
Yeah.
So at that time, like I had CKY2 or CKY2K.
Yeah.
Like, me and buddies watched that, man, religiously.
So you definitely were a Bam Margera Viva La Bam fan, correct?
Yeah. Now Viva La Bam, I kind of it was all right, but I was more like
Don Vito, dog. You remember? Yeah. Dude, the little subtitles that would come up and just his little
man, that shit. And like, oh man, that stuff was so good. Like I'll never forget the one where they had the guy drink until he started puking all over the bar. I don't know if that was Jackass or if that was CKY2K, but
so CKY was like Jackass before Jackass, right?
Well, yes and no. They were kind of at the same time, from my understanding.
See, I thought that Jackass like piggybacked off because CKY I think was Bam's brother, right?
No, well, maybe it was the two of them. I'm not sure.
I think Bam's brother was like in CKY, and then that I don't know the whole thing, but
I don't know a thing either. But it was quite a time, man. Yeah, like I just remember that, like those guys were like trailblazers in a way, right?
Did you ever like try to mimic them, dude? I remember.
We did stupid shit.
We would make home tapes, dude, and like my mom always was very curse suppressive. Like we weren't allowed to say like the most simple words, so we would take our parents' video camera and be like, "Hey, I'm Frankie Bites, and welcome to Jackass." And my mom would be like, "If you're gonna do this, you have to call it Jack Butt." So we were never taken seriously because on all our home films we'd be showing our friends and we're like, "Hey, this is Frank Bites, and welcome to Jack Butt." And everyone's like, "What the fuck?" But I know a couple friends in my neighborhood, dude. They would be doing stunts. One of them broke the wrist, another broke their ankle.
Yeah,
we did all kinds of goofy shit. So it's just so funny to look back, man.
It is funny to look back. It was like a lifestyle at the time, right? It was.
Dude, like me and my sister would stay up late and watch the episodes of Jackass and figure out a way that we can make our own version of that later in the week. It's kind of like podcasting now,
It is.
You listen to other guys and you find out what they're, you don't want to copy anyone's style, but you kind of go.
Well, we all come off the, what do they say? There's a saying, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, right? And I mean that, but it's true. We all like. I did an intro video for my podcast today before you signed up.
Oh yeah.
And or not signed up. That was somebody else. But before we got in touch, but I was like, look, I know I'm not doing anything new here, but I think that there's still value that can be found within people, right?
Just by
We're not
talking
doing
to you, dude, for a short period of time, I can tell you definitely have something to add.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
unique
man.
perspective.
Yeah. And so you too.
Haha. I'm just trying to keep it light and keep it funny, and I hope my thing is if I can make a couple people laugh each day, I'm doing my job and I'm having fun.
Well, that's good, man. That's the
Fuck
main
yeah,
thing.
dude.
Having fun. So, like, what else do you do to have fun? So you do jujitsu, you
Oh
do
yeah. So
this.
real quick, I'll get into that quickly, but we have about a minute and 20 seconds left. You can see the timer up top. And I always make sure that the outro, I always give the guests a little bit of time.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm big into reading, exercising, doing jujitsu, just keeping my mind sharp, watching new TV shows, documentaries. Mental health is like I just bought a Peloton. Right after this, I'm gonna go on there and jump on into a 45-minute workout. Anytime I'm feeling down, that gets me fucking up right away. So
Yeah.
the last minute, Greg, if you don't mind, again, I want to thank you for coming on and tell the people where they can find your podcast and any of that good stuff.
So the podcast is called the fresh. What is it called? The
Cookies.
The fresh cookie, and the idea is that we're all cookies, and we got something fresh to offer the world. You can find it on. Well, I'll just put it on Buzzsprout, so it should be on Spotify and Apple at any time soon.
You do an episode a week or two, or
the plan is to do two, or as many as possible.
Well, dude, hit me up if you had fun on here. Hit me up, and I'll come on anytime for you, brother. All right.
Yeah, man. All right. Thank you, brother.
And everybody, thank you guys for listening to Greg and I. And Greg, I can't thank you enough for coming on. And
hey, man.
the episode will be out in a few weeks because I have a couple lined up. But after that, I'll let you know.
Hey, man. All right, let's do it again.
Thanks so much, Greg. No doubt.
Okay. Bye.
Peace, brother.